What we do makes such a difference, and that's honestly the only reason I do it. I'm not in it for ego or cool imagery or anything like that. I love changing lives and creating things for people that is going to be that, and that's why it has to be a book and wall art and sustainable, real, tangible things.
Yeah. So here we are in what I would believe that is one of Nate's favorite rooms in the building.
To many people's surprise, yes. I do my own sales, which is uncommon for some of the bigger studios. A lot of the time there's a commissioned salesperson or just somebody who's very comfortable selling. And in our situation, that's me. But not just for the ability to sell, but I don't quite grasp why you would give this part up. This is the best feedback point too. So as an artist or a image maker and somebody who really, I love to see these kids grow in personality and mature, and they get to see this, and to miss out on that piece to me is, I couldn't give it up. So,
and think of the value that you're adding by being in here during the sale. You are the artist. When you say, this is my favorite image from your session, that has to have tremendous impact.
I think it does. I think there's ways to get around that. If you're not comfortable in here, you make an appearance quick and just say, oh, that was my favorite, or your salesperson can say that. But I think it can also shoot you in the foot, because sometimes I will say, you don't want that one? I have to give that one to you. And whereas somebody on the payroll or something may not feel that freedom to do that, but it's tradition with me. I always throw in a 5x7 of their dog, of the kid's dog, to take to college. That's just my little warm and fuzzy at the end. But yeah, you have the freedom to do whatever you want. That can be great, and it can be dangerous too. So you learn how to not be dangerous over time as confidence grows, and you realize this is where the money is on the table. This is sustainability or not. So this has to be the most successful piece of the entire project.
Absolutely. So let's start our process in here by you talking a little bit about your methodology, how you designed this room originally, and why you did it the way that you did.
Okay. So a lot of it is, this is where they come in, we greet, we bring them in, sit them down comfortable, a very family room environment. I don't want it to feel like a business transaction. That's got some opinions on the other side as well, but I want to make everybody just feel comfortable and at home. And we sit down and watch a slideshow using Animoto, and then go through all the images and sort them into the ones they like, the ones they don't like. And then we design. Every senior, as Teresa mentioned earlier, every senior we work with gets an album. So our first product is selecting everything that's going to go in the album, and therefore eliminating everything that's not going to get used. Then we look at the wall art, and we have them send in the rooms, their home rooms, and then we select their favorite things, whether it be a grouping. And that kind of is what this room is option 1, option 2, option 3. And over time, just with some of the samples we've had and things that we have in stock, basically, we've put things that fit. This is a great opportunity to change that out. What has always been here doesn't have to stay. Now I'm starting to learn through this process, and there's some clutter on the walls and too much to look at, that I can see a wall like that being, this is realistically what you could do in your home.
Right.
Not that product you could do, and then maybe one of those and one of those, or that, all the options, blend them into families of finished items on the wall instead. So
correct. Let's talk about your valuable real estate in this room to begin with, and let's start there. So I know that we're set up a little bit different in the room now than how you normally would be. You're normally on this side of the room.
Yep. I've got the perspective that the camera has right now, and I'd be sitting over there. So this and this and this is the client. Okay. And we're looking at the screen up there.
So what works in here and what doesn't?
I think on the clutter side of things, there's stuff up above the screen is just noise. That isn't, nobody would do that. Okay. So that's just a product or image showcasing, again, at an inappropriate space maybe. I may have had a couple mentors in here recently kind of telling me some of this, and I think it's time to update and make it. But this is seat 1 and seat 2, seat 3 and seat 4. So this is normally mom, the senior, dad, a sibling if they come with, grandma if they come with. So that is easy for everybody to see. That is easy for everybody to see. That's why that's all the senior work. Again, when you leave or to have to do this, that's where the family is, so that's another thought. But I think primary, because I'm sitting there, so they're constantly looking at me. Primary wall.
Absolutely.
Secondary wall.
Okay. And I do like, especially on this wall, if we're going to narrow that down a little bit above you, where they're obviously going to be looking at you the whole time, that's probably your prime area there. I love how you do have the grouping already that's from one session. I think that sometimes people make that mistake where they'll take a grouping and try to get the maximum showcase out of it, put 5 different seniors into that, and then people have a hard time understanding, I can actually do this from one session.
Correct.
Yeah. So as we're doing this, we're definitely going to take that into consideration. Now I know, talking about the wall that's behind me, and the collages, the location of the collages, and I know you do a lot of those in frame prints, we're going to adjust the sizing of those a little bit, because you know that you sell a tremendous amount of a certain size, and it's time to grow from there.
Right.
So where do you see those moving? Because if it's a valuable piece of your bottom line, where do you want those to live? Because I think we're going to take them off of that wall.
I think just to be, a lot of why I like sales too is to be authentic. What would I do? And not like maybe a artificial salesman saying, oh, I would totally do this when you don't mean it. But the whole purpose of doing a tall, thin collage is to take somewhere in somebody's home that they may not even think you could hang artwork. Between 2 doors, there's 24 inches of space. You could put a 15-inch print between there.
Very easily.
So I would walk around here and find that, and then during the sales meeting, it's a chance for us to stand up, stretch out a little bit, and say, let's go take a look at this product over there.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that Teresa did mention before when we were in your, I'm sorry, is it called a preview room where you...
Just the conference room.
The conference room, okay.
The proofing.
When we were talking about that, she's like, we're going to take the smaller products, the things that we don't want, to be visible in the sales room, put them in there. They can be add-ons. They can be something that it's not maybe a valuable enough product to be in the sales room, but we can still have it in case we want to add it on. I think that's a good thing to concentrate on. Like in this room, you're showing albums and wall art.
Right. So, which is the majority of the sales order, and to try and make that meeting more efficient is just focus on that stuff. We don't put graduation cards or things like that into that meeting simply because that's something we will talk to you later about. There's a lot to do already today, and I think removing some of the small pieces for add-ons later, we're going to see them again for grad cards or some of the add-ons that as graduation approaches, it's just another time to see them, or even just they're coming back to proof their album. So
yeah. So if we jump out of the design mode for a second, I've got 2 questions for you that I think are very, very popular amongst people who are just getting into in-person sales or have never done it before, and they're scared stiff to do it. Okay. How long did it take you to feel like really comfortable in a sales session?
It's I had some sales experience before, so the comfort of selling wasn't the issue. The belief in my own work that it carried the value to that price that we calculated via PPA or via whatever to make a sustainable product, and it was always discounts. Like, let me throw that in, or and that helped deal with that value equation in my head that I didn't feel good enough to be selling them at that. But it was, the first days, the software that's available now walks you through it so easily. Studio is an awesome option to just help sort, because I literally used to do proof books. We'd do a proof book and try and lay out 4x6s on a countertop. And when you're looking at little 4x6 proofs and you're trying to say, yeah, that's a $600 or an $800 canvas, that doesn't compute. When you can show it up on a screen, it made it just, we literally, once we invested in the projection software and all of that, we paid for it in the first sale. So it just made it such a system that was so easy to work with. again, it's my favorite part. So, but to somebody new, I would say stick with it, build your confidence in your product. The best thing I think you could do, which is going to cost you some money, hire your favorite photographer to photograph you and go through their process. Be in the client's seat and spend more than you're comfortable spending on it. You will have a treasure. That's the byproduct of this. You'll have something you forever love, but also you will know exactly what it feels like to be your client. And through empathy, you're a better salesperson. So I think that's just a little tip.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. How long do you schedule for your sales sessions?
2 hours.
2 hours.
So when they're back to back to back, that can be tight because they usually, I like to chat a little bit and keep it comfortable. I'm not an order taker. Yep. I want to feel what's going on. And so we use anywhere from an hour and 50 minutes to 2 hours and 10 minutes. It always falls in that. I think in a perfect world, that could be 90 minutes, and that might be helped by removing some of the small decisions at the end. Okay. That might be just worth the time overall, and then have those be add-on products later. And if they don't get added on, it's not make or break for the business. But yeah, 2 hours is a comfortable time. That also has to do with how many images you're showing. A family session, for instance, is about an hour and a half because a senior is seeing 100 proofs roughly, and a family might be seeing 30 to 40.
Right, yeah. And seeing your Instagram posts and the depth that you go to for your senior sessions, I don't know how you get it narrowed down to 100, Nate.
Well, we're all about story here. We want to capture their story, whether that just be their personality. Some of the traditional portraits have their story just in who they are, and then there's the literal, we're going to the wrestling room, or we're going to the hockey rink, or the art studio, or whatever it be. There's a lot. Typically, every senior's 5 chapters is what we call it, since it's going in an album. It's all relatable to the client that way, because if we're going to build a book, we're not just doing a session. We're not creating pictures to have on your phone. We're going to build a story of you. And now they start to get why we're not doing cool, powdery explosion images with fireworks and stuff. We're doing things that mean something to you, because that's something that's going to last generations in their family and come back to I offer a little fun challenge too for confidence is if you have a sibling come in 2 or 3 years later, you can offer the parents a full refund to buy back everything that they bought the first time through. And I throw it out there facetiously, but they said, no way, not on your life. And I said, every day it gets more valuable. Yeah. So that's what we do makes such a difference. And that's honestly the only reason I do it. I'm not in it for ego or cool imagery or anything like that. I love changing lives and creating things for people that is going to be that. And that's why it has to be a book and wall art and sustainable, real, tangible things.
Yeah, exactly. And that really brings this full circle. We are in the sales room right now, but the activity of selling and suggesting starts way before anybody ever walks in this room. Yeah. So, for people who are listening today that are thinking about getting into in-person sales in their studio, and there's more to it than just pretty pictures and a projector. Like you really have to lay that groundwork. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take that groundwork and we're going to put icing on top of it, and we're going to really change around this room so it works very efficiently, or more efficiently for you, I should say, and update images. And I hope that it increases your sales 1,000%.
That wouldn't be bad, yeah. Awesome. We'll both go get big boats.
Absolutely, I like that idea a lot. All right, so let's continue our tour.
Sounds good.
All right. I would challenge you both to independently come up with a secondary plan of, if we're not going to remove these from the building, where could they be? How could we creatively focus on using these in a way that we haven't thought about before?
Thank you for watching episode 3 of NP Design and Photography's Studio Makeover. We hope these sessions inspire you to elevate your own game. For more information or to set up a studio makeover, feel free to get in touch with us and set up a one-on-one consultation. In the meantime, you know the drill. Check out the description below. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button.